Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother 28 Roundtable podcast. This is the podcast where, of course, we talk about everything going on the feeds, and we also rate the players from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game. I'm your host, Aaron Armstrong, and with me, as always, it's Melissa. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm doing great. What a week! What an episode! It was a lot. I can't believe we had another. What is it? Red Corner? I don't know what their alliance name is at this point. I can't believe we had another one. So this has been a long week. Let's just say that.
Yes, a long week indeed, and with us to talk through it is also Mari. How you doing, Mari?
Hey, Taran. Should I put the ones away? Do I need to put the ones away? You know,
calm down, Mari. We're gonna be all right. Just give me the one.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Here you go.
Hand it to me.
Here
Okay.
Here you go.
All right.
Here you go.
All right.
I just don't know what to do.
Who let it go? Mari.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
There was a world where this podcast was very different. That world existed in many people's minds. That world is not this world, but that does not mean that there's still not some terrible gameplay afoot. So there's plenty to talk about when we rank the players, but we also have a survey that we put out where the audience not only rates the players, but they rank them according to how much they like them. Favorite to least favorite. We're also asking who the time capsule is going to. Last week, Jason was the top vote getter. He was evicted. Number 2 was Drew. So you guys got it wrong. Sorry about that. Number 3 was D. So almost. So we'll talk about all of the survey stuff once we get to that portion of the podcast. But first, let's get you caught up a little bit here. Of course, as you likely already know, this time last week, Kamu was the HOH and Jason was the primary target. Jason did, in fact, get evicted after losing the blockbuster to Mallory. Haley then won this week's HOH. And while initially setting her target on Taylor because of snacks, she shifted her target to Drew because of vets. And with Drew, Melody, and Taylor on the block, Taylor went and won the veto, which prompted a bit of a back and forth, some strife going on because Kamu has been sort of lulled into an idea of Lyric and pulling Lyric into the alliance, which Haley is not fond of. And so Haley wants to nominate Lyric as the replacement nominee instead of somebody like Mallory, which has now, in fact, happened. The veto ceremony, Taylor pulled herself off the block. Lyric is on the block. At this moment, Drew remains the intended target, and Melody is the backup target. Lyric still safe at this point. That may change, but at this point, that is roughly where things stand. I wish there were more to give you in terms of like where everything else is going, but nothing else is really different. Nothing else has really changed. So that really is kind of roughly where we are. Before we get any further, though, I do want to mention we've got a live show coming up. Not just a live show, but a live convention happening in Milwaukee. And it's very exciting. If you want to come and hang out in person, I don't know. I actually don't. Mari, Melissa, will you both be there?
Yep.
I will be there.
Both of them.
I just bought my tickets yesterday.
All 3 of us, plus plenty more. We'll have some live podcasts and other activities. It's a good time. Check out tickets at the RHAP website place. It's probably easily Googleable. That's how I find all my things. Anyway, that's where we are. Come hang out with us. It's August. I think it's August 26th to the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why Milwaukee? Ask Rob.
I've never been.
Me neither. I'm kind of excited. It's fun to go to a new place.
Yeah.
Anyway, Melissa, what have been your thoughts on the week so far?
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so sad. Like, first of all, I didn't want a Haley HOH. I just didn't. And then the fact is that I just really don't want Drew to go home, and I don't want Melody to go home either. And it's just frustrating. This is really not what I want to happen. And it's just, oh my God, I don't know. I like it. It's frustrating too, because it just feels so dumb. And you know what it reminds me of? And I know I bring up Big Brother 16 all the time, but it reminds me of like that beginning. It was like the first week or the second week when all of a sudden they were going to target Zach Rance. And the alliance was like, he's a liability. Like, we just need to get rid of him. Like, we need to go. And then Derek was like, guys, like, I'm going to go to bat for him. And he just like went around to each person and was able to convince everyone to keep Zach. And it feels like that with Drew, because Drew reminds me a lot of Zach Rance, because it's just, he wants to be like a character, and he's this young guy and he has the hair or whatever. And it reminds me a lot of that, because he's like fun to watch and all that. But we just don't have a Derek to come and save him, I think. I don't know. And because at the time Zach was like, I'm fine. I don't like whatever, it's over. I'll go. It doesn't matter. And Derek basically had to do the work for him. And I feel like that's what we need here, because I don't feel like Drew even knows that he's the target. And so it's like, he doesn't think that he has to do the work to save himself, because he thinks he's good. He thinks he has the alliance, or at least he wants to believe that he has the alliance. So he's willing to put all the hints and signs that he doesn't have the votes out of his mind. But yeah, it's just, I really don't want Drew to go home. I don't want Melody to go home. I honestly didn't want Lyric to go home, but I'm okay with Lyric going home. That's fine. It's not been a great week. I'll say that.
Yeah, I was just talking about the Zach Rance comparison the other night, that it really does feel, not just personality wise, but like that time, as you mentioned, when we had, I said we, and I keep saying we, as if I were on the podcast. That was the season before I started podcasting. Yeah. Where Rob had really like written the eulogy on Zach Rance, like the night before the live eviction, or I guess, yeah, it would have been the night before. And then Derek changed his mind last minute, because he realized, I don't need to play the game with Nicole and Hayden in the rationale if I don't want to. I can stick with what works with the bomb squad, with the detonators. Zach is a loyal number. I can blindside these two people, this group of people that think that I'm working with them. And then, wouldn't you know it, like boom, 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 Jagasta, Hayden, Nicole, pretty soon all just kind of go down one by one. Obviously very successful for Derek. It also reminds me of Austin, Judas himself in season 17, when Vanessa was like, I don't trust this guy. I think he's got to go. And he comes up and he says, I'm loyal. I promise. Please, I'm begging you. She changes her mind because she realizes that this is a number for her, not a liability. Also works out pretty well for Vanessa. And then on the flip side, you have the Heisems. They didn't change their mind. Did not work out well for them. And so, yes, exactly. And so it really does feel like it should be a pretty big mistake for people like Devens, who really have Drew as a number, even past the point of credulity, that we are like, Drew, how in the world do you still trust somebody like Devens right now? But that kind of proves the point that like maybe he shouldn't be getting rid of him. And it's hard to really crystallize that as a mistake when they have so much power and safety that it's like, there's no world where they pay for this anytime soon. Yeah. So you can't really be that harsh on it. But it does feel like, man, he still doesn't see. That's how deep he is here, Mari. It's hard.
It is, and I just need to correct you, Taran. It's Luchasaurus now, not Judas. Luchasaurus.
Sorry, Luchasaurus.
Yeah, no,
Victims
exactly.
aren't I all?
Drew is so like Drew would never go against Devens. Like Drew said, "Here, Devens, here's my game. This is all for you. I'm playing for you." And Devens was initially that steady hand, that Derek, that was like, "Oh, you know, we don't need to go after Drew yet. It's fine." And then once that flip just switched, and Devens was willing to let him go, it was just it was done for Drew. And yeah, again, like you said, they were too well insulated to be like, oh, this might be the thing that comes back to haunt him. But I am kind of wondering, what are the vet's thoughts when you see the red corner get comp wins back to back to back? What are you thinking? Like, who's going to take them out if you know, y'all are so good at scattering the other side, you're getting rid of Drew so early. Like, when are the vets thinking about down the line when they have to deal with these three people, when there's less people and more physically athletic comps? So yeah, it feels too early, but it does feel like a season, like one of those season crossroads for the season.
What about Barrett? Like, Barrett and Drew were very close, and Barrett recognizes that he's on the bottom of this alliance, and he knows that Drew is the target, and he's not doing anything about it or telling him. It's like, don't you know that you're next?
I think he's hoping he's not. I think he's like, you know, I just had a conversation about this. Like, I feel like Barrett is in this spot where he can't save Drew. I mean, the only thing he could have done to save Drew is give Drew the heads up and fully try to flip Haley against the vets by like outing everything with Drew. They told us about the red corner. We're part of an alliance called the Crossovers. They're playing us against each other. But like, it's just like that usually fails. Like, that is Nicole going up to going up to what's his name with Bella, Nick, to try to warn him that the rest of Undeniable are trying to come after him, and him going, Jackson, Jack, Christy, can you believe what Nicole's trying to do? And then they throw a party and leave her out of the room. Like, it doesn't usually work out that way. And I don't think it would here either with people like Haley and Kamu and Chuck. I think that the vets would say, yeah, we had an alliance with them called the Crossovers. We haven't met since week 1 because it was a week 1 thing that they approached us with. I don't know how they caught on to the red corner name. Like, you know, like maybe Angela let it slip. Maybe somebody overheard it. But the point being, we're not with them. Clearly, we're not with them. We're trying to target Drew. If we were in an alliance with Drew that was still good, why would we be targeting him? We've clearly chosen you guys. And it's just like, yeah, it will raise some doubt, but I don't think it will raise enough to flip it this week. Now, all that said, Drew should absolutely try. He's got nothing to lose. Barrett does have a little bit to lose, which is that he could end up on the block this week if he tries, and he could end up on the block next week if he tries, and maybe he won't be on the block this week or next week if he doesn't try. That said, I still think he should, because he's on a TV show. And I think that, like, you just need to start making moves. You can't just sit down and hope that the walls that are closing in on you stop on their own. You need to start moving and pushing and doing something, because this is a TV show. And I know this is like a show that you are deeply invested in, and you want to make a splash. You want to be somebody on this show. You don't want to be second fiddle. You don't want to be third fiddle. You don't want to be 10th fiddle on this show because you were, you know, you didn't want to go out a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier than you otherwise would have. Is it the best gameplay for Barrett? Maybe not, but I do think he should try. That said, like I said, I do understand why he's not. I do think that there is a world where sitting back and letting this happen allows him the opportunity to win power someday in the future and make something happen eventually when he's in a better position to. I understand that, and I'm not going to begrudge him that. What I will begrudge him are things like last week when he was willing to vote out Mallory. Those are moves that I really think are inexcusable. And this week is just, I think, another example of that attitude, even though I think it's a little more understandable why he's not acting.
But what about not such a big splashy move and instead just trying to flip the votes and just get Lyric out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why not just be like, guys, like, Drew is an ally for us, Lyric is not. And do you see that Lyric is trying to get in with Kamu and Kamu is believing it? Like, we need to like flip this vote. We need to figure this out. We can't have Lyric taking Kamu away from us. Like, you know, if you play up to Haley that Lyric is like some, you know, feminine, like her feminine wiles are going to come in and take your man. Like, Haley will not like that. She doesn't like women anyway. So like, just like feed off of that and be like, oh, Lyric is, you know, all the boys like Lyric, the guys like her and she doesn't like you and blah, blah, blah. Like, just do something. Like, maybe to have, I don't know if you need to make such a, like a big, oh, we're outing the Crosshairs. Like, couldn't you just be like tell Drew, like, hey, I think this might be a bad week for you. Like, don't reveal anything if you don't have to or whatever. Just be like, I feel the way that people are talking and they don't want to tell me anything. I feel that people are like not being truthful to you. I think you need to go in there and just re-emphasize your loyalty and your like that you want to be part of this and you're excited to work with people and just like do it more that way rather than like we're turning on them. More just like, hey guys, I think now is not the time for this move. Let's target Lyric for now. And then we can get Drew out next week. Like, you know?
So what happened after the veto ceremony today was Devens and Barrett. Devens did a really good job of trying to make Barrett feel comfortable. Barrett completely knows that Drew is the target now, which is simultaneously bad for Barrett, but also good for Barrett, right? Because it's bad because Drew is one of his closest allies and he shouldn't want Drew to go. But the fact that they are trusting him enough to tell him that Drew is the actual target and not blindside him means he still has some agency. So much so that him and Devens were in there talking and they're talking about future plans. And when they're talking, Devens is very convincing of this. And I really don't think Devens would plan to get rid of Barrett like as soon as like next week or anything like that. So Barrett will have some time to then try to maneuver throughout the game. The problem is
time for everybody else to get picked off, and then he's the last one, the first one to be gone. That's just
from what I was about to say.
The alliance. It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you off, but I just feel like so frustrated. I just feel like it's like he's not next week, but it's like, what good is it to stay one more week or whatever? Like, you're not going to win. Like, Barrett is not going to win this game at this point. Now, people are going to clip that when he wins, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it just feels like it's like, I want him to win. I would love for him to win, but he's not playing like a winner. He's not.
Yes. But then Drew comes in. It's very awkward to us because we know what's happening, but Drew and Barrett are lying through their teeth, telling Drew he's good. And at this point, you can tell Drew is getting nervous. Like I think Drew is picking up on that it's not good, but he is like pushing himself into denial, but he's also doing things that I feel like he should be doing, but he's asking Devens for reassurance. He's asking Barrett for reassurance. He's going to Haley for reassurance. But my thing is, the only thing that Barrett could have done before now is one HOH. Like him and Drew, I think we saw on the Sunday night episode, Drew said that he specifically through the HOH, they keep saying when Devens leaves, they keep saying, man, like, yeah, we're in the majority alliance and that's great, but dang, I wish we were in a majority alliance with people we like. Like, why are all the people that we like not our majority alliance? Well, you know what? If you had one HOH within the last 2 or 3 weeks, you could have flipped it and made an alliance that benefits your game instead of sticking with one that doesn't. And that's the biggest thing. But we don't, we can't use the time machine dining room table to go back to you guys throwing HOHs. So the next best thing, what I would do in this situation, if I'm Barrett, and even it doesn't hit as hard coming from Drew, but if I'm Barrett, I'm just like, yes, I understand Drew is doing all of this stuff, but also like, Lyric is really good with Kamu. Lyric is really good with Chuck. I'm going to D, I'm going to Angela, I'm like, Lyric, if Lyric is on the block, Lyric's not gonna put up Chuck and Kamu and Haley if she gets power. She's putting up you guys to the icons. I'm petitioning the icons, the vets. Like, yes, I understand Drew's bad, but maybe we should probably just consider that taking out either a Lyric or a Melody, who we know for a fact are putting you guys up. We should probably think about that, because if we keep taking out, we are helping Kamu and Haley take out people who are coming for them. Jason was coming for them. Melody, Lyric are coming for them. Melody told Haley to her face she was coming for them. These people aren't coming for you. They're letting Mallory, is letting Mallory stay. Mallory has promised them that they'll take a shot at you. Why are y'all letting that happen when Drew does not plan on taking a shot at you? Drew told you he's planning to take a shot at Haley, Kamu, and Chuck if you give the okay. So why are we letting Kamu and Haley get out the others who would come after them and let them keep the others that would come after you guys? And that would be my spiel throughout the week. But I understand why Barrett doesn't want to push too hard.
I completely agree. I think that is absolutely, absolutely the play. And it's what I think Barrett should be doing. I think that he should be trying to keep Drew. And I think that you make such a great case because it's what we just talked about. There is a good case for especially Devens, who so far has proven that he is very capable of swaying people in the direction that he wants them to go, to keep Drew and to take out either Melody or Lyric, neither one of which does anything for Devens' game. And I think that, like, I would say that Barrett would probably say to this, if I try to pitch to keep Drew, I go on to that sinking ship. Number one, at that point, what are we doing? This is not you blowing up the alliance and trying to start something fresh. This is you just making an argument. And if you're worried about even making an argument, then you're not playing the game correctly. Number two, you don't even really need to make the argument. I feel like the way to approach it is because of the blockbuster. And by the way, I think the blockbuster is sort of what's blocking him as well. Like, do I want to risk making an argument to keep Drew when he might win the blockbuster anyway and my problems are all solved?
Yeah.
But because of the blockbuster, you also have an easy way into the argument, which is, okay, guys, what are we doing if Drew wins the blockbuster? And you talk through Lyric versus Melody, and you get excited about whichever option you land on, whether it's Lyric or Melody. Well, okay, if we end up voting out, say it's Melody, because that's kind of where they've fallen so far, we end up voting out Melody, that actually does kind of leave us in a good place, right? Because now Drew has been weakened. He never has to know that we were coming for him. And he's still targeting the red corner and not us, the vets, the crossovers, whatever. But without Melody, he's less of he can't really do anything. Everybody's already, like, Taylor wanted him gone. He's lost all credibility with the other side. Yash really wanted him gone. He's still a big target for everyone else in the house. It works out for us if he wins the blockbuster. You just kind of get them used to the idea of Drew in the house next week. And then maybe they start to think, do we even need to vote out Drew, right? And you can just start to introduce that idea and start to play around with it. And then you can start going harder and harder on it. Like, yeah, Drew is better for our games than he is than Haley, all of them who he plans to go after. And then you can even have that conversation with Haley, kind of the other way around. And when Haley introduces it, to the vets, like, because she's talked about, like, I think Drew is better for my game than for your game. I'm taking Drew out for you guys, the vets. And if the vets know secretly Drew's actually with us and not you, and you think that we're doing you a favor if we potentially switch this vote around, now all of a sudden, what are we doing? So, you both just started looking around.
Yeah, it sounds like
Like, is something happened with
like
the audio?
no. It was just a lot of reverse psychology you just explained there. You like, if we think that it's good for us, that he stays in here.
I just
Anyway.
noticed 2 paintings in my parents' room, and they looked the same, and so I was trying to figure them out. So yeah. Sorry.
Point being, I completely agree with you guys. Whatever the tactic is, I think that Barrett needs to be doing something. And you can argue all you want till you're blue in the face that doing something is risky and that doing nothing might end up in a good place. There's still always something you can be doing, and that I'm not seeing from Barrett right now in the way that I need to. So yeah, frustrating.
Yes.
Anything else from the week, Mari, that you've been thinking about?
No, I said most of it on Thursday, and we've talked the coin of destiny to death. My flabbers were gasted when I saw D walk into that the diary room on Sunday. I was like, oh my gosh. Just like the rest of the internet.
So
I didn't
funny.
stay up, but just like the rest of the internet, I thought for sure Drew had gotten the power. And it was just so funny that everybody's like, well, at least we know how the house feels to be sketched out by Drew. So that was fun. That was a fun 3 days, to say the least.
It's funny that was the most interesting thing that happened this week, is just that the fan base was just collectively imagining a scenario.
I was
Yeah.
coming in
Didn't
here
exist.
guns a-blazing. I was like, I can't believe Drew got this power. Like, oh my God, that was so funny.
It's very funny when everyone's saying like, oh, now I can see why Angela is always thinking that Drew is up to something, because we all definitely thought he was up to something and he wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of Sunday, I just wanted to mention that I felt like last night's episode was so good. I
Mhm.
felt like they covered stuff really well. I feel like we got a really good idea. I loved, let's say, Melody's diary room sessions. I feel like all of her diary room sessions felt really real and felt really, they weren't like, the put-ons of like, okay, now why don't you say that again with more energy? Like, it felt real and raw, and it made me really like, I love her. I mean, I'm a huge fan now. And I also liked how I was worried about how they were going to portray the Haley like mean girl thing with Melody and how that was going to go. And I feel like they did a really good job of showing evidence of past days where Haley has said stuff that's not very nice, and then turned it around and been like, wow, she's a mean girl, she's a bully, and that's not what's going on here at all. So I was glad that they kind of pointed that out. And I'm at my parents' house right now in Colorado, and I was watching it with my family, and my mom said that she was shocked at Haley because she hadn't really seen much of her and thought that she was this like nice competitor girl. Like, she was just very competitive, but very nice, and was very shocked by what she saw. And so she's not pleased at all with Haley, which I was like, I guess, pleasantly surprised with. And then, the other thing is that she's not pleased with D right now because D didn't tell Devens about the power. And my parents don't like that because they like the idea of D and Devens working together and being a final two. And they were like, that's going against your ally, and that's not being loyal and whatever. And so I wonder, it was just interesting to hear their takes. First of all, it was very funny because when we started the episode, they would talk about people as they came up, and they said, oh, Drew, he's really good. He's so smart. He's a really good game player. And I was like, no, he's not, unfortunately, no. And they were like, oh, like they would point at certain people and be like, oh, she's so good. Or, oh, she's like, like Mallory, oh, she's doing a great job. I was like, no, she's not, unfortunately. It's like they had the complete opposite takes of everything that we've always been talking about. So and they kept saying, Melissa, I don't think you're right about that. I think that she is very smart. And I'm like, guys, I literally had to be like, guys, I am on a podcast every single week where we rate the players and their strategy. Like, I know you guys don't know. You don't watch the live feeds. You don't know. I know. And they were like, okay. But
you are that person.
Right.
I mean, actually,
I literally am.
I know a bit more about this than I think you do.
I swear they were making me so annoyed because they were just like, no, Melissa, she actually is really smart. Like she's actually very good at this. I'm like, no, she's not. So yeah, it was very fun, but it was a great episode.
And last thing from the episode on Sunday, I love that HOH. That HOH.
I loved it too.
Yes, the Rachel, like the Rachel HOH that she won last year. I love that type of thinking, type of memorization. I call it the warehouse HOH because I really like that. I love when they take them out of the backyard and do those types of HOHs, like the Nether Gorgon. I want to say is like the first kind of iteration of that, I believe. Yeah, very I
fun. Love the HOH. I loved the costumes. I just thought it was so fun. And that was the first episode that like my brother has watched of the season and my husband has watched ever. And so I was very pleased that first of all, that it was a good episode. And second of all, that the competition was not stupid. I mean, it's silly like that they're all in the costumes and they're all like being like extra, read all about it, whatever. But it's fun. And I would have loved to have worn those costumes. And I just thought it was like really well done and more serious, I guess, than some of their other the pickle one, you know what I mean? Like this one actually felt like a fun competition that wasn't dumb. I don't know. It was cool.
All right. Well, should we talk about some of the survey questions?
Yes.
All right. Well, we have, of course, the player rankings. Favorite to least favorite. We asked the audience to rank them in that order. Here is last week's order. Drew was the top spot, followed by Devens and Barrett, then D, Melody, Mallory, Taylor, Lyric, Angela, Lala, Chuck, Haley, Yash, and Kamu. Of course, Jason was actually third, but he has since been evicted. How do we think this goes down this week? Because this whole season so far has been very all over the place with these favorite rankings. Do you guys think that Drew has maintained his position on top?
As number one, probably not.
So. I don't think so. I mean, honestly, I would put Melody as number one, but that's just me.
Melissa says Melody.
Okay. I say D.
Mari says D. You are both incorrect. Mallory.
Whoa.
Okay.
Simultaneous.
Oh,
interesting.
Mallory goes up 5 places. I
like Mallory. I just feel like I haven't like seen enough of her to be like, oh, she's number one. But I do like her, and I hope that she goes far. So I'm just surprised.
Her DRs hit or miss for me personally, but it's cool. She's cool. I think she gets the big bump because a lot of people are hoping if she gets an HOH, she'll actually shake some stuff up.
Well, I can tell you, I did look this up because it was very close. It was very, very close between first. I believe, if I'm reading the data correctly, we'll check the actual map once we get through the list, but. First and second place, very, very close. Who do you guys think is second place?
I think Melody or Taylor. I'll go with Melody.
I'll go with Devens. No. No. Barrett. I'll go with Barrett. Stranger
Melissa
things have
sticking
happened.
to her guns correctly as Melody also spikes
There you
up
go.
3 places into second place. Mallory and Melody now first and second on the board. Who's third?
I think Taylor.
So now it's Taylor. Okay. Yeah, I can see that, I guess. Like we just all don't know what we're doing, huh? Like everybody's just like I guess.
Yeah, we don't know. I think Taylor, or I mean, maybe Drew, but I feel like people are frustrated with Drew right now, so I feel like Drew would drop.
Yeah, exactly. Do people particularly like Lyric?
No.
I know I'm a Yash can for Yash.
That is such a funny name. Yash can. Yash can.
I'm gonna say Taylor. I'll go with Taylor, just like Melissa said.
All right, Mari, you should have stuck to your D guns because it was D who has made it into third place. Top 3, Mallory, Melody, and D. Now, we'll just kind of a lightning round this. Quick answer. Who's 4?
Devens.
Devens it is. Nailed it. Devens dropping 2 places into 4th.
Okay, then it's got to be like Drew, Taylor, Barrett.
Drew, Taylor, Barrett is exactly correct.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think it's got to be.
Just for a moment, I'm going to stop down on Drew, who has fallen 4 places from first down into 5th.
He was first
Taylor
twice in a row.
1. Drew was, in fact, first twice in a row. He went from 5th to 1st to 1st, back to 5th. Barrett also falling 4 places down to 7th.
Y'all are hard on Barrett.
It's because they expect more from him. I feel people expect more from Barrett because they're like, he's a super fan, he's a podcaster. Like they see themselves in him. They're like, I would wish I would be doing something in this. Like maybe people are just disappointed because they realize that maybe they wouldn't do something.
All right.
I think then.
I think it's just kind of the rest then.
I think
right
it's
here,
gotta,
like Lyric.
Yeah, it's got to be Lyric, Lala, Angela.
Yeah.
I think Angela drops.
Yash.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Yash. I didn't see him still on there. Yash, for sure.
Not quite. It is, in fact, Angela.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
Then Yash.
Okay, then Lala.
Yash with a big rise from 14th to 10th. Not bad.
Shout out.
And then after Yash, Lala, and that leaves us with our bottom 3, the red corner, Chuck, Haley, and Kamu. That was the order last time. You think it's stayed the same, or is it shaken up?
I feel like it's probably the same, although maybe Haley dropped
more. Maybe Haley. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to decide between Chuck, Kamu, and Haley.
Do people still remember that we don't like Kamu, or is it they're more mad recently at Haley?
Yeah.
Well, it is Chuck, it is Haley, and it is Kamu. They did remember.
They remember.
Yeah.
Massive improvement for Mallory. Once again, up 5 spots into first place. Big spike, big fall from Drew. And Devens remains very consistent through the season so far. So let's take a look at the map here and look how close Mallory and Melody were. Look at the scores here as well. 4.133.
Man, I almost got it when I said Melody was number 1. I almost had it.
Well, that was the thing. I checked briefly the survey. I usually check it once to make sure everything's working properly. At the time I checked it, Melody was in the lead. And then when I finalized it from when the survey closed at the start of this podcast, Mallory had just closed the gap, taken over.
Okay. So Mallory for time capsule then.
I have seen that. Melody for time capsule is a bit riskier, though Melody is getting more of the edit. But I would say that kind of makes it even more likely that you should vote Mallory, because if Melody's getting the edit, she probably doesn't need online help, right? So I think strategically, a lot of people are looking at Mallory, even regardless of anything else. But that is up to them. There is a big grouping here after Melody and Mallory, who are pretty firmly in first and second. This grouping of D, Devens, Drew, Taylor, and Barrett grouped up there. Then we have this sort of middle group of Lyric, Angela, Yash, and Lala. And then, of course, back down at the bottom, far away from everyone else, is the red corner. Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes lots of sense.
All right. We also have some questions to talk through. Let's talk through some questions. This is the episode ratings. This is where we rate the episodes for the week. Week 4 episodes look like they've been generally pretty positive, comparatively over the last 7 to 8 seasons. There's never been like a really negative rating for week 4 for whatever reason. So far, the episodes have been pretty highly rated this season. In general, the season average is well above the all of the season's averages. Last week was a 6.4. This week, 6.0. Lowest episode rating of the season so far, but still not doing too bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised by that, because I felt like Sunday's episode was really great. And I know that people didn't like Jason leaving, but I did really love Julie's interview with him. I just loved when she said like, "Oh, you said America hates you." And it's like, not true. I was like, yeah.
That was so good.
That was such a great moment. I felt like it was a great episode. So yeah, I'm surprised, but okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is one of the things that happens with Big Brother, is that, like, to whatever degree that we criticize or praise production for choices that are made, at the end of the day, people want to see things that they want to see happen, and that's going to impact their enjoyment the most. And so,
yeah.
And to be fair, this is the week that included the tea party. I thought they did a great job at the beginning of the tea party, but I don't feel like they captured the ending or throughout the tea party. Like, I loved the setup of, you've got Kamu like pacing and being all weird in the HOH room and kind of like reciting his thing, coupled with, Mallory like cutting little sandwiches or whatever. And I thought that was funny. I loved that intro to it, but then I don't feel like they accurately captured just how well Jason did in that confrontation. I feel like he really held his own. And not only that, I think he had great arguments and proved them wrong, that Kamu was wrong. And he called everybody out and basically said, this is the way the house is right now. Like, what is everyone going to do about it? Are we all just cool with this? And I don't feel like they quite captured that. And then I also think they didn't capture Lala being like, if you're saying you're trying to clear the air, then you have to name names. You can't clear the air without naming any names. But they just like, I know they don't have all day. They don't have time to do all that. But I did feel like it didn't quite capture the feeling of it. And then the fact that Jason was just like alone out there, I feel like they didn't give him enough of like a sympathetic edit, which I would have hoped for, because that's how I felt watching it. But like, so I could see why people might not be pleased with Wednesday's episode.
Yeah, I was not on that recap. My two biggest complaints about the way they edited the tea party were that they and I tweeted this out, but like they intentionally showed Jason's rebuttal to Kamu when he said, I don't think it makes me a bad person to do X, Y, and Z. He makes that argument twice in the edit, and twice Jason replies, I'm not saying you're a bad person. But they left out the portion of the tea party where Jason starts off with the preamble about how he's here to play a game that would make his family proud and like not embarrass himself, unlike essentially what he's about to dunk on Jason for, which is why Jason was responding in that way. And so by leaving that out, they kind of implicitly are siding with Kamu and allowing him to make the statement that I never said you were a bad person and make it feel true, even though it wasn't really true. And then the other part is what you said, Melissa, where I really felt like that image of him sitting alone after the tea party ended was a very powerful one.
Yes.
And I was upset that they left that out.
I was surprised they left
Yeah.
it out too, because like you said, I think it is a powerful image. And the fact that he stayed there for so long by himself, just kind of like looking out, why leave that off when I feel like that's so powerful and moving? It just feels like they're intentionally trying to not make Jason sympathetic. It's supposed to be like just a fight and not like, oh, we're kind of dogging on one person and he's being like now ostracized. Like, I feel like they could have done a better job, or just like at least have like more emotion involved in it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we also have Rate the Feeds this week. Feeds have been getting pretty decent ratings so far. Again, through week 4s, generally feeds have decent ratings. Nothing in the negatives here for week 4. But I have to imagine things might not be quite as good as they have been for the season so far. 7.3, 8.3, 7.3 the first 3 weeks. This week, a 5.2, which is actually the lowest rating for a week 4 since Big Brother 21 when we started doing this poll.
And Taran, can I tell you why? It's because if I have to listen to Haley recite a story every 6 seconds, but putting her own spin on it to every single person in the house, I'm going to lose my mind. I've been like listening to the feeds Sunday and Monday, like today, and oh my gosh, I was just like, the retells. It is so annoying. I'm sorry, Haley, you are just as much a mean girl as you say that Melody is, because all you do is sit up there and talk about people, and it's fine. That's the game, but don't act like you're not doing it. And my God, she does it. And I was like, I want to cut this off so badly.
Yeah. It's not been a great week. Like I said, the most exciting part of the week so far has been outside of the game. People falsely speculating on where powers were. The week itself has been pretty bad, quite frankly, for a week of feeds, especially for a week 4 of feeds, which again, historically has been a pretty decent week. And so this is actually the first week that it's gone a little red here for the rating. So it's unfortunate. We also have, what is the rating for the season as a whole? Now, this is where plenty of seasons have been in the red, but so far this season has been a 7.4 in week 1, 7.3 in week 2, 6.3 in week 3. So it really dropped last week. I can only imagine where it's gone from there. 5.1. We are now officially in the red. The red, by the way, if you're not watching the video, first of all, you should be watching the video for this. It's a very visual podcast. Well, visuals we got. But red means it's below average. Well enough below average for it to be colored red here. And it's pretty bad. In fact, the only season that had a worse rating than this one for a season as a whole so far at week 4 was Big Brother 21. Every other season at week 4 has had a higher rating than this one. That is brutal. That includes Big Brother 22.
Shades of BB21 here too. So very, very brutal. Very brutal.
Yeah. Not great. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, and honestly, if the power shift doesn't happen, it's not gonna look good for next week either. Like, it's gonna be bad. Like, this
I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Lock me down. Put in your ballots. I think it's coming. I think
Taran, do you think it's
next week? I'm clocking Mallory, Lyric. Somebody's winning HOH on that side. It's not going to be a vet. It's not going to be a red corner.
Okay, good. Put it from your lips, God's ears. But do you think it's the wall? They think it's the wall.
They think it's the wall. That's kind of what I'm putting my money on. I kind of feel like if it's the wall, I feel like Mallory, Lyric, maybe Yash. I'm a little worried about Yash, but maybe Yash. Don't know. But I don't think Devens. I think D could win a wall, but I think that Mallory and Melody both are slightly. I think that like she's competitive. I think Mallory in particular is really well suited for a wall. I am concerned about Kamu. I am, but I really feel like Mallory could have a great shot at the wall. But that's if it's a wall. It might not even be a wall. They're speculating. They always speculate that it's a wall.
Yeah, they do. Has the backyard been closed?
The backyard has been closed. As part of why the speculation has come. It was an early closure, I believe. So next,
my mom literally just came in the room, by the way, and was like, "Are they talking? Are you guys talking? What's happening? Are you guys talking?" I was like, "Mom, I'm on a podcast right now. You know this."
Boy. All right. So HOA trains. D had a very good initial HOA train rating. The Devens with a 5-point, Kamu in the red with a 3.7. Week 4 has been a pretty bad week for HOHs. Mickey with a 2.0, one of the worst ratings on the board. Quinn with a 3.9 and Cameron with a 2.8, an average of 2.9 for week 4. It's actually the worst average for any week that we've been doing this is week 4, other than like week 13, which was purely the Bowie and Matt final HOHs, I guess. So how does Haley fall here? A 3.3, which is weirdly second only to Quinn, but certainly above Mickey and Cameron.
Which I mean,
improved the average rating.
Which I mean, for Haley, is actually not bad. It's not like she's Mickey getting out a close ally of hers, because even with Drew being her target, Drew is not. I mean, he's in her alliance, but he is not a close ally, and he would target her immediately. So that's actually, I mean, we don't like it.
It's better than Quinn's HOH.
That was Cedric, right?
Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Granted,
exactly.
the rating again. This is the initial rating. So Quinn, I don't think we went back and rated afterwards. So this was before the flip happened on Quinn. Just to give it some context. In fact, we do have a retrospective rating as well. Again, we were not doing that at the time for Big Brother 26. We have very few ratings for this, but we do have a retrospective rating for Kamu, which was a 3.6. So basically the same.
Yeah.
Basically the same. Nothing really changes there for Kamu and the average. All right.
The HOH was good for him. It just was not good for us. Like that.
All right. Then finally, we rate production nowadays. We're just starting with this one, but production's rating has been slowly going down. 6.7, 6.1, 5.1 last week, 4.0 this week. Big drop this week for production, which production hasn't done anything different. If you felt this way about production, should have been rating lower before. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I would have been lower on production. Personally, the second that Diamond Power Veto got introduced last week, I would have been way further down than the 5.1, but that's just me.
Yeah.
All right. Next, the time capsule. Who is everyone voting for? Melissa, who is your endorsement?
Oh gosh. I mean, see, I would say Melody, but I understand that she might not be here, so it's like maybe don't risk it. I feel like Mallory is a much better option because I do think Mallory could do some good things with it. So yeah, I'd probably pick Mallory. I would pick Melody, but I would pick Mallory just because I think that's a better option. Yeah, strategically, I'd pick Mallory.
Yeah, strategically, I'd pick Mallory. For me, people will hate this, but I'd pick Barrett. I want Barrett to know that he has some love out here from me.
You want Barrett to be Lord of the Latrine.
Yo, that would be funny. Exactly. Yeah, no, I think Mallory is the right call, especially since the vets think she already has a power and are kind of thinking about if they should target her because
she might as well get something or prove it wrong when she comes out with a punishment. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, let's do Mallory. Barrett, I said, don't judge me, chat. I said just a heart pick would be Barrett. I am going to vote for Mallory. Okay.
All right. Let's see what the audience says. They say Mallory with 44%, Melody with 26%, Drew with 11%, and Taylor with 10%. That's a large amount of.
My mom's here. Can she give a quick take?
Hi.
Hello.
Can my mom give a quick casual take?
Yes. What is her take?
Oh my God, you guys. I love you guys.
Okay. What's your quick casual take?
Big Brother is the bomb this season. I love it so much. And it's not like it usually is.
Which people do you like?
Well, I do love Dee and Devens because I also know them from Survivor.
But who would you vote for the power?
I wouldn't do Dee or Devens.
But you can't. They already have it. I know,
but those guys, they shouldn't have had it as soon as they should have, because you need it later in the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, yes, but they get to keep it later. It's not like they have to use it up.
True. Good point.
But who would you vote for now that they're not eligible?
Ooh.
Quick.
I don't know.
We gotta get into the ratings.
I have to think.
If you don't know their names, just tell me what they look like.
Well, I have to say, until I recently saw some things with Drew, I liked Drew. Now I'm not so keen on Drew. So I don't think I would give it to him. And I don't like Barrett. Everybody loves him so much. He's Mr. Overalls. I'm just over that. I need him just to be like a fun player and not just like, I'm not into this group anymore. I want him to be loyal. I like loyalty. And I'm very disappointed in Dee because she didn't tell Devens about her power. And if they're truly loyal to one another, they should have shared. That was my opinion.
Okay, but who would you vote for? Really quick, and then that's enough.
I know, it's too hard.
Just pick someone.
I do like Melody. She's smart.
Okay, Melody. That's who I say too.
There you go.
She's smart. You did?
Yeah. Okay, we got to rate. I love you.
I like that.
Good job.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
There you go.
Yeah, there you have it.
Casual corner with Melissa's mom. Listen, that actually, I think that tracks with the edit that Melody got in that episode on Sunday night. It would not surprise me if Melody picks up a lot of votes from the TV viewers. But I think we still have to wait on Wednesday's episode, which will also be very influential, 90 minutes. So that's probably the most influential episode for the entire week. But the online audience, or at least ours, is still looking at Mallory. But I would say, just again, like, look at the vote spread here. Like, this is a very small, like, package of people, and even this audience can't get on the same page, right? Like, I don't think that we're making that much of a difference here. All right. Next, is Haley choosing the right replacement nominee here with Lyric? I mean,
I guess.
Honestly, I actually don't hate it. I think that Lyric is closer to Chuck and Kamu, whereas she was able to get an actual deal from Mallory, who says she will honor it. Mallory will certainly go after Kamu and Chuck, but she might be willing to keep Haley off the block, which would be a huge boon for Haley's game. So I'm kind of in the camp of like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, my only other thought process is, if you really want to force the issue with, like, you want Drew and or Melody out, I think a good replacement would have been Lala, because Taylor has already stated before she doesn't really want to vote out Lala, and I don't think she would give up a Lala for a Melody or Drew or anything like that. So putting Lyric up there kind of leaves Lyric open, because if Taylor or Yash decide that they feel like a Melody would be more helpful to them, then they could flip to a Lyric. But again, that would also mean that Barrett would have to be down with that as well. Yada yada yada. It's just I think Lyric leaves it open to a possible flip, because Lyric doesn't have those ties to the other side as much as like Lala would.
To be clear, this is not necessarily like Haley's logic, although it is at least a little bit. But there is certainly an argument to be made that that Lala on the block leaves the door far too open, not for a flip, but for Drew to just win the blockbuster. And if Drew wins the blockbuster and you end up taking Melody out, that's not quite as valuable. Honestly, Drew leaving is probably more beneficial for Haley than almost anyone else in the entire house. Like Haley and Chuck are Drew's top two targets, and he is willing to go for it when he goes after them. Lyric is a little looser with that, so she wouldn't necessarily love Lyric leaving, but Lyric, and so you're right in the sense that like Lyric might be more likely to have the vote flipped on her, but Lyric is also more likely to beat Drew in that blockbuster. Sure. And as long as Drew's on the block, it's hard to see the votes flipping against anybody else. But I think there's certainly a case to be made.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you want to be evicted this week? Who do you want to be evicted this week, Melissa?
So I don't want any of them to be evicted if I can help it. But I mean, there's obviously other people I'd prefer to be evicted. But I think if I have to pick between these three, I'm obviously going to say Lyric. I just enjoy watching the other two more. And I do think that I think I could see a world where they end up being a really good counter alliance to the main alliance and doing something really cool. But I mean, I enjoy watching them more. So yeah, Lyric, unfortunately.
How about you, Mari?
I agree. I agree. It's Lyric. It's just so hard for that side to really come together, because there's just so many like warring like positions. But I think if it could be, I guess it would more likely with Drew or Melody. I don't know. Lyric just, I'm fine with Lyric going. This sucks. This choice sucks.
I'd be willing to put money down that production is with the two of you after losing Rome and Lyric's showmance. The idea that they might lose another one so quickly, I bet they are not pleased with. Drew and Melody have exactly the kind of like spin that they like to put on a season, like the Drew and Melody showmancy kind of show. I bet they do not want that to end, and Lyric already lost her showmance, but the audience is with it also. 64% say Lyric is their preferred evictee. 29% say Drew. Only 7% want Melody to leave.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch Lyric's, like, confession. I didn't watch feeds with Lyric like today and yesterday, but I saw a lot of people talking about Lyric throwing everybody under the bus or something. That's
been happening. She got called out for it today.
She was throwing people under the bus hard.
She had to go into full like apology mode. Like
who caught her?
Well, Haley just outed her, basically. Haley was like, hey, just so you know, Mallory, Lyric's been talking smack. And said to Lyric's face as well, like, you know, it's not a good look that you're just throwing your allies under the bus. And so she really kind of, you know, that was really the first time I was like, oh, Haley's kind of doing something here.
It's so funny because just last week we were talking about how Lyric is actually doing really well. Like that she's like impressing us with her gameplay and all that. And I feel like, I mean, I'm not going to fault her for it because I feel like it's like, okay, she's scrambling, you know, she's in a precarious situation, etc. But it's just unfortunate because we literally were just talking about how, like, you know, Lyric actually, she's got something going there.
I talked about this. Well, we did a podcast with Rizzo earlier today, and I think I mentioned it there that I really feel like Lyric, she clearly had some cards to play. She's got some skills, but for the last 3 weeks, she's been in a position where she's been put on the block. So she's needed to pull out those skills to maneuver her way off the block or into safety. And after 3 straight weeks of it, it's finally catching up to her. Like, you can only be in that spot for so long doing that well before people start to get annoyed with you or you just run out of runway. And I think that's part of what's happening here. She clearly did really well the first time she was on the block. She got herself off the block, talking her way off. The second time, she won her way off and then started to integrate into the majority a little bit. But then she stepped on the wrong toes. Now she's back in this position. She tried it a third time, and it was not the charm. It was just one time too many, and this time she got caught. And she's still in a fine position theoretically. She's not being talked about to be voted out. So it's not like she's that far deep into a hole, but it's not great to be caught like that.
Is there talk about the idea that Haley promised her and Yash that she wouldn't go after them if she wins HOH?
Yes, Haley has had said, Lyric, did you read the fine print? I said nothing about a renom.
Lyric's like, I'm a lawyer. I did read the fine print. Of course I did.
All right, should we talk? Should we do the Stockwatch? Should we rate the players?
Yeah.
All right,
let's go.
On the board, here is the Stockwatch. This is where we rate the players from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game. And we see how it goes. It ties into a price. Is a sea of red last week. A lot of red there. Season average, still not that bad, 4.58, but we'll see how it holds. We're going to kick off with Angela. Maybe we'll start to reorder them a little bit in the future, but alphabetical is useful. Kicking it off with Angela here. Angela has, I think, a fine week in the sense that her worst impulse has been sated. She has realized and admitted to D, I'm so glad I didn't rat out the crossovers. That was a good decision from you guys that I went along with. Good. I'm happy that happened. She's getting Drew out, which is hopefully going to, spin her onto somebody new who maybe she should actually be wary of, like Yash. And so that's like kind of good for her, I think. What's bad for her is that Devens is starting to feel a little bit fed up. Devens and D continue to bond. What's good for her? Haley loves her. Haley is a phenomenal person for Angela to get in with, because if Haley continues to win competitions, Haley is the person that could and is saying she will bring Angela to the final two and lose to Angela. This is a genuine win condition for Angela that is hard to find for a player like Angela. So I like that part of it. Ultimately, I think the bigger risk here is Devens. And if Devens is starting to feel like he could kind of drop Angela at any point, I think that spells doom for Angela's game. I gave her a 6 last week. Everyone else gave her a 5. I'll come back down to the 5 here. I do think that there's room to grow for Angela, but I don't think this week is it. I'm going to need to see her win Devens back over, because Devens currently has far too much power, especially with that diamond power veto.
Yeah, I'm going to give her a 5 as well. I'm sticking with my 5 because even though she is getting her target out this week, I don't think he should be her target. So I don't think that that's a benefit. So yeah, 5.
Yeah, That's actually a great point. Yeah. I'll give her a 5 too. I was initially coming in giving her a 6 based on positioning, based on her targeting, based on her actually not only getting in really good with Haley, but she also seems to have mended bridges with Lala as well. But yeah, I agree with Taran. The dissension with Devens and the vets, that's something we really do need to keep an eye on. So there's no movement really, so I'm cool with the 5.
Wow, another 5.
What does the audience say for Angela? Last week they were at a 5. I think it's probably the same, right? It is. It's straight 5s for Angela. All right, Melissa, what are your thoughts on Barrett?
Oh, you mean Mr. Overalls?
Mr. Overalls.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I really, it's funny because when I hear his DRs, I'm like, yes, he understands he needs to like get away from this alliance, and like they're not for him. They're not going to advocate for him. Like he is on the bottom and he gets it. And yet I feel like he's not doing anything about it. And maybe he just feels like he can't do anything about it. Or maybe he just doesn't feel like the conditions are right to jump ship or whatever. But I feel like this is one of those situations where if you let it get too far down the road, you're not going to have anyone to rally as a counter alliance against the major alliance. You're just not. There's going to be way too many people being taken out, and there's going to be no one to gather to create your little own alliance. And it's like, it feels like that thing where it's like, oh, well, they're not coming for me, so it's okay. I'll let them get so-and-so out. Like, well, they're not coming for me. I'll let them get so-and-so out. And then it's like, okay, yeah, but at a certain point, they are going to come for you and no one will be there to help you. So I'm worried for Barrett. I really hope that he can, I want him to do something because I really do like him. And I want him to, I know he knows it and he has it in him. He's a podcaster, for God's sake. I mean, not just a podcaster, he's a podcaster about Big Brother. So I feel like it's like he gets it. He knows what's going on. And I want him to show us that. Unfortunately, here he is potentially losing Drew. And Drew is, a really good ally for him to have, or at least somebody else in the alliance that is at the bottom with him and not just him at the bottom. So, it's disappointing. And it feels kind of like he's like, well, that's just what's going to happen before it needs to happen. Like, do something to try and change it. We've talked this to death, I guess. So I'm going to give Barrett a 4.
Yeah. So Barrett is in this strange position where he's in the majority alliance. He's in the bottom of the majority alliance. He correctly identifies that he was the last person brought into the majority alliance. He now knows, since that the vets have now shown him that Drew is the target, that he now knows his positioning is even worse than he thought. So Barrett having all this information now, I think, is good for him. But his positioning is still bad, and his positioning will not change until he gets some sort of power or somebody on the other side gets power. And it's a very bad week for Barrett. And it could be the absolute worst, like with him, like losing Drew. But still, I don't think his positioning is as doom and gloom. I think his positioning is not that bad. It's just his not so active gameplay that is what's really hindering him. So just for that, I'll give him I agree, I'll give him a 4. But it doesn't matter, right? It's like Melody too. It doesn't matter if you know the game. It doesn't matter if you know how to play the game. It doesn't matter if you've read Taran's book and watch 100 hours of RHAP. It's what happens when you walk through those doors and what social positioning you end up in. And I think a lot of people, this is one of those seasons that'll really show a lot of people it does not matter the knowledge base, the wisdom you have. It's about your social positioning, and you have to be able to jockey for your social positioning. And the best way to do that is to get power. So do not throw HOHs. Please, people, don't throw HOHs. So yeah.
Yes. I do, like I said, I do think there's a world where things can work out for Barrett, but they require things outside of his control to work out for him. And while those things could happen and things could work into his favor, he has not shown me any evidence that he's capable of making those things happen himself or taking advantage of the moments when they do happen. So even though, yeah, Mallory might win an HOH next week, she might target the red corner. After that, what happens? The vets probably strike back at Mallory. And what is Barrett going to do? Is he going to raise his hands again and say, oof, I guess she served her purpose? Or is he going to actually do something about the vets? That's what I don't have confidence of. And the fact that he's losing yet another ally here, or at least losing a major ally probably, and he's done absolutely nothing to try and prevent it. Yeah, it's at least a 4 here for me. What about the audience, though? The audience gave him a 5 last week. This week, I think a 4.
2.
It is a 4.
Hey, look at that.
Straight 4s for Barrett. All right, Mari, how do you feel about Chuck?
Chuck, with your cowboy hat and your no. Chuck is very insufferable to listen to on the feeds, but that's neither here nor there. Chuck's positioning as of right now, that his side holds power, is very good. The moment his side does not hold power, he will be up on the block. Now, when he's up on the block with a Haley, Kamu, and a him situation, I don't necessarily think that he would be the main target. I can't see him being on the block with both Haley and Kamu and him being the main target. You know what I'm saying? I would think that either Haley would take that bullet or Kamu would, depending on how the challenges shake out. So I always take into consideration positioning. And as of right now, Chuck's position is good until there's a power shift. Chuck himself, his gameplay style is too laid back, and he's too vocal about it being laid back. His closest allies in Haley and Kamu are already like, dog, like, wake up, we need your help, win something for us and all of that. And then his connection with Lyric is so annoying. It's so condescending when they talk to each other. But it is a good connection there for him. He has a minimal connection with Yash. The unfortunate thing is he has basically no other connections anywhere else. So that aside, I think for me, just taking into consideration his game and his positioning, I'm going to give him a 5.
5 from Mari. Beats anything he got last week. Straight 4s last week. I am more in line with last week with Chuck. I think that I actually think that he is in some danger potentially. I do think Kamu probably a bigger target, Haley a bigger target. But if Mallory were to win an HOH, maybe she does keep Haley off the block. Chuck is definitely in a spot where that hurts. But it's also fine. And I think his long-term prospects are bad, but there's a long time for that to change. I also think that him putting Yash on Angela's radar has been huge. I mean, that could pay off massive dividends for him and his alliance. So I do think that that's big, but in general, not much has changed. I'm going to give him a 4.
Yeah.
I'm torn between the two, honestly, because I feel like Mari's right that his positioning and the fact that he's on the good side, quote unquote, they're winning everything. They have power. They're the majority alliance. And not only that, but he's not considered one of the biggest targets of that, of the people on that side. It makes me think that there is room for him moving forward. However, I just don't feel like I don't feel like he has it in him. Like, I don't feel like he's strategic. I don't feel like he knows what's going on. Like, I just, even
for the game he's playing, he doesn't need to be, though. That's the thing.
No, totally. And
Yeah.
I think he could go far, but can he win? Like, can he? I just don't feel like the people would see him as a winner. And so I could see him as one of those people that moves forward in the game and goes pretty far and has a deep run, but for what? You know, like, can he argue that he did anything? I don't know. And I also feel like if it comes down to it, I feel like Kamu and Haley would be willing to sacrifice him if they had to. You know, I don't feel like there's any sort of like, he doesn't have a close ally. Like, I feel like Haley and Kamu would be more with each other than they would with him. And they'd be like, yeah, take him. That's fine. So I'm like, I'm torn. And I think, like, for me, the Stockwatch is about performance week by week. And I do feel like this week, his side's in power again. He doesn't have to do anything. They're probably going to get Drew out, and that's good for Chuck. So I'll just give him a 5, and then we'll see what happens next week. It's a low 5. I'll say that.
All right. Let's see where the audience falls. I think they're going to agree with me.
Okay.
They didn't. They went even lower. The audience gives Chuck a 3.
Man,
I get it.
okay.
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's tough because he's playing the type of game that he doesn't need strategic chops. He's gonna, if he stays in the next few weeks, when he gets to that mid game, he could win a whole bunch of competitions and march his way down to the end and be like, I played with loyalty, integrity, and I won 20 competitions. And if he's sitting next to Haley, there's a good chance that he might win. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just one of those situations where it's just kind of like, if luck is on his side, he could make a deep run.
All right. Well, let's move on then to D. Last week, I gave D an 8. The audience was lower on D. They gave her a 6. She ended up with a 7 average. It's an interesting thing. I really do think that D and Devens in particular are so far above the crowd. They are in such a safe position with so much power with the diamond power of Veto that it really comes down to, like, what are they actively doing to improve their position? Are the decisions that they're making, am I agreeing with them? That's what the rating is really coming down to. They have a very high base rating, but then, you know, where it falls in that like 7, 8, 9, 10 range is very much like, do I think Drew is the right target? What kind of decisions are they making with powers, with the relationships that they have? And for me, D is going to remain an 8. I would consider going up to a 9. I think she is really well positioned. And I think that the fact that she hid her power from Devens is great evidence of the fact that she is willing to cut Devens where Devens is not willing to cut her. But, and this is the reason I didn't go to a 9 for D, I also don't like that she didn't share this with Devens because it's such a useless power in general. And I do think that Devens right now would potentially bring D all the way to the end. And I think that's phenomenal for D. I don't want, if I'm D, to give Devens any reason to doubt that I would not do the same for him. I don't want to give him any reason. And if he ever learns that she did not return the favor and tell him about her power, I think that is like the John and Netta, like Netta, like revealing too late in the game that she would have cut John. Like, I don't like that. I think it's a little weakness in the armor. And so to reflect my my not agreeing with that, it's a little bit lower. In addition to that, I will say I think Devens right now is better positioned than even D. I think that he has fewer people like strictly looking at him and more relationships to potentially defend him. But we'll talk about Devens soon. Melissa, what are your thoughts on D?
Yeah, I mean, she got the power, which that's obviously like a bump, but I don't think it's good for her game to get Drew out this week. And because I think he would have been loyal to the vets, or at the very least gone after red corner before going after the vets. And I just think that this is not a great move for her. And I think that I am worried about the fact that she did not tell Devens about the power. On the one hand, I'm like, yes, I like that she kept it to herself and isn't just like blabbing about it. I like that. But at the same time, it makes me worried because if this information comes out later, that could really hurt her, or at least hurt her relationship with Devens. So at least if I'm Devens and we've come up with a system, it'd be one thing if it was like we never even talked about it and it was just like, oh, I just didn't think to tell you, or I felt like, whatever. That's one thing. But they specifically were like, if you get it, you'll say this specific code word or whatever. And then she didn't do it. So it makes me think that, like, if I'm Devens, I'd be like, oh, she really was trying to be deceptive and make me think she doesn't have it. So that might be bad. So for me, I'm like tempted to go down to the 6 because I really don't think it's good for her that Drew is going or potentially going this week. But at the same time, I just feel like D is doing so well and she now has this power. So I'm going to stick with my 7.
I'm definitely going to give D an 8. All the reasons mentioned above. I like that she kept the power secret, and there's only one scenario where I'm worried about her getting found out about the power, right? And that scenario can happen as early as next week, because again, if we vote Mallory to get the power and Mallory goes in there and walks out with the punishment, then how do you not, as Devens, Angela, not be like, wait, Mallory got the power this week, so who got the power last week? And if you're looking around, it has to be D, right? So that I feel like is the one scenario that I think she could get caught up with this lie. But other than that, I have full confidence in D to keep this a secret for as long as she possibly can. And especially with the mechanics of the whatchamacallit itself. I like the ways that you were talking about, Taran, of using it. I would definitely use it. I think D is very creative. I think she's gonna use it in a way that we are not gonna see coming. I understand she could go the Christy Murphy route, that you outlined, Taran, basically threaten the person with the power so I don't have to use it, type thing. But I would absolutely love to see D use this anonymously and in such an interesting way. And I think she has the chops to do it. And it's good for, like, it's literally good for the whole game. Like, there's so many, that opens up so much. So yeah, and her positioning again is very, very good. Yeah, people are coming for the vets, but they're not openly saying they're coming for the vets. She's very likely to, if this is a wall comp, she has a good shot here. The one thing I don't like is her hanging out with Angela so much. She's hanging out with Angela and Haley so much. I feel like that Barrett connection is kind of weakening. And other than that, she's not really Yash. She's doing pretty good with Yash. That's good. But everybody feels like they have Yash. So I don't know. I like her relationships outside of the tool shed need some working on. If you're going to allow Kamu and Haley and all of them to make relationships outside of the tool shed, I think D needs to kind of do that and maintain as well. So all that said, I still think she's playing above and beyond a lot of players here. So I'm going to give her 8.
Okay, well, the audience gave her a 6 last week. Remember, this week, I feel like they're at least a 7. at an 8.
Whoa.
An 8
An 8.
for D.
That's a jump.
Look at that. Yeah, the quick update as well, by the way. Apparently, take this with a grain of salt. There is currently a discussion between Kamu and Haley about potentially choosing to send Lyric home over Melody.
Interesting.
Who knows? It's right now probably the hint of an idea at the moment. And I will say again that I think the vets ultimately will make this decision. So don't take this for anything until the vets clock in and decide. But worth pointing out here, will not affect my ratings because I think it's far too early for it to do so. But let's move on to Devens. Melissa, what are your thoughts on Devens?
I think, like I said, same with D. It's like Devens is playing obviously better than like a ton of people on this cast. However, I don't think this is a good move to send Drew home this week. Yes, Drew is kind of wild and crazy, but I feel like this could be the Derek moment where you save Drew and then he's a loyal soldier, blah, blah, blah. And this could have been a good position for Devens to kind of like put his hands on the scale here. But unfortunately, he's not. But I don't think he's in danger anytime soon, but I don't think this is the move this week. So from my perspective, he's a 7 for me as well.
Yeah. I don't care what people say. I really don't think getting rid of Drew here is the move for Devens, to be quite honest. I really don't. Drew is so invested in like the Drew Devens Barrett of it all, and Drew basically is the Izzy to Devens Sari, but Devens is giving it up to placate Angela in the red corner and stuff like that. And I don't like it. But again, it's hard because positioning, he's untouchable. Like Devens is literally untouchable at this point, because if somebody does grow a set and decide to put him on the block, he has his diamond power of veto, and Devens is not afraid to shake stuff up. So he's assertive. He's an assertive, aggressive game player who I really do feel has the capability to get himself out of a lot of situations. So even though I think this is a weak spot for him, letting go such a loyal soldier as Drew is, because he's such a capable player in my eyes, I think it lessens the hit that's taking. So yeah, I am on the fence between a 7 or an 8, but I think I have to give Devens an 8 here, because it's just at this point, it's like until they face some adversity, they're just in power. And even when they do face the adversity, and I'm talking about both D and Devens here, I have full confidence in them to be able to circumvent it. So yeah.
All right. I am going to agree with Melissa on this one, actually. I'm going to give Devens a 7. And the reason is, despite of what I said about D and how I think that Devens is actually better positioned than her at the moment, I also think Devens currently has the most amount of influence in the house. He talks to somebody, they change their mind based on what he wants. I think that's very impressive. I'm very impressed in general by what Devens is doing, in the same way that I'm impressed with D. But 2 major factors. One, he's using that influence and a lot of his social capital to take out Drew, which I think is absolutely a mistake for Devens. I don't think it's nearly as much of a mistake for D, who never had Drew as much as Devens had Drew. Number 2, D did not tell him about this power, which tells me that D is less loyal to Devens than Devens is to D. And that's not great for Devens long term. I think D absolutely could be looking to snipe him out at some point. I think those are 2 bad long-term things for his game that are happening this week. And so even though this week there's a lot of impressive stuff going on, I think he's making an actively bad decision and there's a bad long-term sign, and I get to rate how I want. They're as I said, both godlike figures in this house, and so we're gonna have some fun trying to, nitpick their decisions and their things that are going on. So a 7 from me.
I like that. Can you change mine to a 7? I'm gonna pull a Melissa. Change mine to a 7.
We got her.
Everyone gets mad when I convince people of things.
I was already
right.
teetering, so that's all that matters.
The audience also thinks a 7, so we are now in line. Devens the 7s.
I want to point out that I said that first. I gave a 7 first.
I copied Melissa. I was sweating.
Wow, Taran never has his own opinions. He's always just copying Melissa. Wow.
All right, let's move on to Drew. Mari, how do you feel about Drew?
Oh no. Oh man. Is it bad? I feel better about him than what I did the other day when I thought he had a power and didn't use it. But it's still not better. It's still not in a good position. He is the most likely target to go out here. Honestly, the battle bag being the only thing, the BBBB, the blockbuster is the only thing that's saving him right now. I just it sucks, right? It sucks. And as I'm watching him go around the house and really be like, you guys, you're keeping me right. Mallory told him to his face this morning. She's like, I don't think you have the votes. I don't think you have the votes.
Then he went upstairs and laughed about it.
Yeah. Yes, he absolutely did. He went upstairs. He's like, she thinks I don't have the votes. I have the votes, right? Right? I have the votes. And so and again, I don't know if it's like willful ignorance, like he's trying to convince himself, like he's in deep stage of denial or whatever, but it's just as of today, it's not good. It's not happening. So I think, and he's fallen so far from grace. If he does survive with the blockbuster, I'm wondering then what happens to, like, then do we get Barrett saying like, oh yeah, Drew, they were coming after you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens after that? So I don't know, man. I think I got to get the ones out and got boo, boo, boo. Drew gets one. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only thing you can give him. It's just a big fall from grace. Like he only as of right now, he only has the blockbuster.
Yes. I hope everyone notices the nice one animation here too. So ready? Because listen, I agree.
Nice.
It's a 1. It's a 1 for Drew. Just because there was a notion that he might have done something worse doesn't change the fact that his baseline was already here. Maybe that showcases a weakness in the rating rubric in the grading curve. That if Drew had the coin and had chosen not to use it, he would have deserved a 0, like Jag before him. But this is a classic case of what we have come to rate a 1. He fully has put himself in this position. He fully should have seen it coming. He fully still doesn't see it coming. He threw this HOH when half the house at least was coming for him. And almost everyone in the house wants to vote him out. Like, he has, I think, one person, Melody, who wants him to stay. I don't think there's a single other person that wants him to stay over Lyric or Melody. That's bad. That's just bad. It's just bad, and he absolutely shouldn't be here considering where he started. It has to be a 1. That's it.
Yeah. It's so disappointing. I honestly, I don't want this to be the case. I want him to stay. I was excited to see him play. It's just the fact that Barrett, at one point, he had a final 2 with Kamu. He had a final 2 with Barrett, and he was doing so well. And the fact that all of those, every single relationship that he had, or every single ally or alliance or whatever that he had has crumbled for him. that's not good. It'd be one thing if it was just like, oh, the vets in the red corner want him out, or like the tool shed or whatever. But the fact that he doesn't have any allies being like, hey man, like this is not good for you, we need to do something, they're just letting him go. That's just not good. So yeah, unfortunately I have to give him a 1. I don't want to, but it's so disappointing. I really hope that something can turn around, but this just doesn't look good for him.
All right. What does the audience think? I think he's too popular for the audience to have gone certainly to a 1. I think the audience is up all the way to a 3.
I think it's a 3.
2. I think it's a 2. Oh, yeah, dang it. I was trying to be different.
It was, in fact, a 3 from the audience. We see you. We see you. All right. Let's move on then to Haley. Let's talk about Haley, our HOH, who certainly is enjoying her HOH-itis, and, doing her thing. But I will say, I don't overly hate what's happening. I think that at the end of the day, Haley is Haley. And so if I'm rating her like social gameplay, it's always terrible. And this week it's even worse than normal. Strategically, I don't think she's made as many errors as the HOH as she has socially. I think Drew, despite her best efforts, is actually a phenomenal target for her. Taylor was not as great a target. Drew is actually a really great one. And if she takes Drew out, she's, again, the person who probably benefits more than almost anybody else in the house. She's now cut off one of Kamu's final 2 allies. She's cut off one of Devens's close weapons. She's cut off somebody who planned to come for her. And with like little fanfare as well. Like it's actually pretty decent. She manages to make a deal with Mallory, who says she will honor the deal next week if she wins HOH. That's a lot better than where she started. I don't overly hate where all of this went. Has it improved her position in any meaningful way? No. Her social game is still bad enough that she's the target of many people. And I just don't see her making it that much further. But, this is just what I was at. This is 4. Just keeping it the same.
Yeah, 4 for me as well, because I think this is good for her that Drew is going to go out, but I don't feel like she's gained any respect or new allies or really anything from this HOH aside from the fact that Drew will be leaving, which is good for her. So yeah, it's a 4.
Yeah, I think the most important thing though is she did secure that deal with Mallory, who the only thing it's important, the reason why it's important is because Mallory said she's going to uphold it.
Will she actually is another question, but I agree.
I hope she doesn't. I hope she doesn't, but yeah, I don't know if I could give Chuck a 5 and then come down and give Haley a 4. So I think I'm going to give Haley a 5. Yeah, socially horrendous. Strategically, very good for the week for her. Yeah.
All right. Well, the audience gave her a 4 last week. I'm assuming they did the same. They didn't. They went down. They went down to a 3 for Haley this week.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. All right, then. Let's move on to Kamu. Melissa, what are your thoughts on Kamu?
This one's a little tricky. It depends, I guess. I think the lyric Haley thing is not great for him. But I think that he got out Jason last week. So that was good for him because he created a big scene with him. And if Jason had stayed, I think that would be really bad for Kamu. So I think the week played out well for Kamu in terms of results. Then I think this week it was playing out well for him because Drew is going to be leaving and Haley is the one who is getting the blood on her hands, quote unquote. Like she's the one who's, causing drama with the girls and she's the one who's, saying the weird comments about like leave the HOH room or whatever, and just kind of like not handling herself well in a social situation. So I feel like he's getting good results this week without having to really do that much. However, I'm hearing that he's targeting Lyric, and I feel like that's not really what he should be doing. So I just don't know if I don't know if he knows what he's doing. So I am a little like worried about that. And the fact that he's always going to be a big target on that side because of his competition prowess and all that. I gave him a 4 last week, I guess, because the end result is good for him. And I gave Chuck a 5. I'm going to give him a 5, I think. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, Kamu is he started this week out really weird, really rough. He's going around pretending like Haley might put him up. He pushes for Lyric's safety.
I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Him and his freaking hoodie. He pushes for Lyric's safety so much that he actually pushed her into danger and under the bus. So strategically, not the best week for him, but still, positionally wise, he's in a good position for all the things we said. Plus, he's eligible for HOH next week. He has a chance to hang on to the wall with his good grip strength that he claims that he has. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where the three of them, this is just a win for them. Like the people who have gained the most from the stranglehold of power that both the vets and Red Corner have had over the past 4 weeks is the three of them. You know what I'm saying? So like, I can't give him anything less than a 5, even though I dislike him so immensely. And I think that he actually did things that was not strategically good. It showed me that he is not a strategically good game player, which I knew that. So I don't have any confidence in him if he does get into a sticky situation. But this is how I rate. So I give him a 5, mostly because of his position.
All right. Well, let this be known that I gave him a 5 last week. At the height of the Tea Party drama, I gave him a 5. This what I'm about to do is not because of the Tea Party or any of that. This man his game has tanked.
Okay.
The position that he was in last week to this week is so much worse, in my opinion. I think that him more than anybody else in this house, including Devens, is hurt by this Drew situation. Drew was Kamu's one competitive advantage in the entire house. Drew was a connection that actually mattered to the outside world. And by allowing Devens and D to convince him to drop Drew, he has narrowed himself into oblivion. He's now like, I'm trying to work Lyric, but nobody wants to allow him to do that. He has no relationships left outside of this like small environment he's in. Taylor isn't really rocking with him anymore. They haven't had a meeting with the Tethers anytime lately. She knows that he's on the other side. He's pissed off Haley and Chuck. He no longer is super close with D and Devens. Yash hasn't had a single wolf pack signal to Kamu any time lately because he's still working the other side. Kamu has nobody now. And I think that if there is a shot taken on that side, Kamu is right now first in line, in my opinion, in the line of fire. I really think that Kamu's game has been demolished, and I think he's a 3 right now. Easily.
Okay, I'll drop him to a 4. Can I drop him to a 4? Because I forgot about the Drew thing. I forgot that, like, like they were an alliance together, and Drew would like that is something that even if it's not like real, it's still something. And that could have been something to keep around. So, okay. Yeah, no, I forgot about that.
I will say though, it'll be, if Drew goes this week, it'll be interesting to see how everybody's game in the tool shed is affected, because the reason that the tool shed has been able to really have a stranglehold on the game, especially in those first early weeks, is because of the information that Drew's been giving them. So, you know, if they lose their wealth of information, it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of them are able to navigate the game without having their mole on the other side. Because something tells me like Barrett isn't really, you know, bringing back that much information. Like he's really selective when he wants to. Yash is such a yes man that it's just kind of like, sure, boss, whatever, you know. And then with this Kamu and Lyric thing, will Lyric want to bring more info over to the other side? Because remember, Haley spent all morning talking down to Lyric about throwing people under the bus. So I'm really wondering how everybody's game is going to be affected when Drew, if and when Drew, who is their the spout of knowledge, is gone. So just a thought for next week, if it happens.
I really feel like there's a good chance that this time next week we are talking about Kamu on the block, facing a blockbuster, potentially being voted out. I really think that he is in that much potential danger. And even if he's not, even if he wins a veto or his side does win another HOH, I just think like what is Kamu's path at this point? Haley has been stolen from him. He does not have Chuck. He certainly does not have D or Devens. Who does he have? He has nobody. And I just think that if I'm looking at Kamu, who I was high on last week, weeks before, I thought he was in a decent position. I really feel like he's tarnished all of it. And I'll say again, I was high on him last week through the drama. He's gotten worse from there, so much worse in my opinion. But there it is. That is Kamu. Let's then talk about Lala. Mari, how do you feel about Lala? Oh, sorry. I didn't do the audience vote for Kamu, which is
3?
A 4.
Oh, 4.
There you go.
They're
Split the
higher on
difference.
him than the rest. Yeah. Lala. Lala spent this week first being told that, oh, Taylor was trying to flip the vote on you last week, and her actually, considering it and thinking it. She's so just easily influenced. It's kind of annoying. It does seem like she's been working on her relationship with Angela a little bit. Strategically, she's a non-entity in the house. Like, I don't even know where she's gonna vote. The cameras on the feeds are barely on her, to be quite honest. So she is just not an active player at all at this point. I don't even know if she's a passive player. She's just in that house. Like, for me, from what I'm seeing, like we saw in the episode, Taylor is talking about how she basically has to like drag Lala along. She's like, I feel like I'm playing Big Brother for 2 people. She tells Lala to go upstairs and tell Haley something, and Lala could barely do that, right? You know what I'm saying? It's so unfortunate, like, that she is not having basically any impact on this game. So I'm gonna give her a 2 just because she's not on the block this week,
All right. I think I am. Listen, I've been the highest on Lala, I think, in general. She got a 2 from Melissa last week, a 1 from Mari. I gave her a 3. I'm going to stick to my 3. I just feel like, for me, yes, right now, there's just no world where she wins, but she is going to stick around for a long time. And for somebody that is guaranteed basically to stick around for a long time, 2 months from now, it's a long time from now, and things could change. You just never know. So I'm not willing to go as low for somebody that is this safe, but I'm certainly not willing to go any higher than a 3 until she really does something.
Yeah, she's a 2 for me.
There you go. Audience says a 3. There you go. 3 average this time. Let's then talk about Lyric. And I believe it'll start with me here. Lyric on the block. People talking about now voting her out. Now, even without Kamu and Haley talking about potentially wanting Lyric out this week, I still feel like she is in some danger. I have not yet heard solid evidence from Devens and D, who I think will make this decision, exactly where they want to go with the vote between Lyric and Melody and why. So until I hear from them and get a concrete opinion from them, I am taking Lyric as very much in potential danger. I can't even say that she like really put herself in this position. I do think she stepped in the wrong. I don't know. I completely lost that metaphor. I'm sorry. But she certainly did something wrong. But it wasn't like as wrong as somebody like Drew. I think she's in a lot of trouble. I think that she is a potential person to be evicted. But if she survives, I think I would say she's in an okay place. I think ultimately I am going to go again with a 3 for Lyric.
Yeah, 3 for me as well. I'm worried about her for this week. And, you know, she's lost like basically all of her allies. And now she's been throwing people under the bus and people now know about that. And it's not a good week for her. And there's a possibility that she's going home. So yeah, 3 for me.
Yeah. 3, like all the things Taran said earlier. It's just like the 1 week her all of her tricks, all of her everything that she's been doing is not getting her out of this situation. So I think she better if she doesn't win the blockbuster, I think she's relatively safe depending on what happens, you know, but not, you know, compared to what we know, not now.
Yes. All right. Well, the audience says a 4, slightly higher. A 4 on Lyric is actually surprisingly high for somebody on the block who could leave. But 4 is what it is from the audience. Talk about Mallory, Melissa. What do you think?
You know, I'm glad that Mallory's not on the block this week. That's good for her. Maybe she'll win a competition. Maybe she'll get the power. I don't know. But overall, probably an ally for her is going home. However, you know, there's talk of like, well, maybe we should work with Mallory. Maybe we should keep her around. And so I feel like that's good. You want that kind of talk, even if people, you know, aren't currently working with her, there's a chance. And that's always good. So, last week I gave her a 3. I'm still worried about her because I do think that like she is an easy person to put up on the block in the event that someone from that side wins power again. It's kind of like, well, who are we going to put up now? There's not that many people left. Even just as a pawn, there's a chance. Yep. So for me, this has been a pretty good week for her, I guess. So I'm going to give her a 5, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yes. I'm trying to think between a 4 and a 5. I do think her managing to not go up on the block this week is really good. I think she did all of the right things when dealing with Haley. Barrett definitely did help her with what she could say to Haley to get her to not go up on the block. And you know, she did what she needed to do to not end up in that position. And so, and she has a good chance of winning competitions. We know that. Her positioning is not good. Like Melissa said, the next time, if that side of the house gets power, especially if they had D, a Devens, an Icon, or anything like that, she's definitely going up on the block. She's very capable. I feel like she's very capable in competitions. It's just like it's just a ceiling to her upside when she hasn't tasted power at all, and she's been on the very bottom. So, the chat did point out that she does have a really good relationship with Angela, so that is good. I mean, she still almost left last week, so that, you know, it's kind of neither here nor there. So I think I'm gonna give her a 4. Yeah.
4 makes
right
sense.
There along with Barrett, with her buddy Barrett. Sorry.
I think position-wise, I agree with the 4, but I have actually really liked what I saw from Mallory this week. I feel like her conversation with Haley I found really impressive. The selective information she was giving Lyric I thought was good. And hey, if we are getting a wall, maybe she's in a decent spot. Maybe she gets a power next week. I feel like there's some potential upside. Either way, I do want to reward her a little bit. I'm going to give her a 5 here this week. The audience says a 5 as well. There you go. 5 for Mallory. Let's then move on to Melody. Mari, how do you feel about Melody?
Love Melody. Honestly, love her. Don't love her position in the game. Don't. She is. If Drew wins that blockbuster, more than likely going out, barring what the conversation that's happening right now. You know, again, love her, but when you tell the HOH to her face, yeah, I would have probably put you up. I love that. I love that moxie. But you're on the block. So it's just like, and unfortunately, we haven't seen her win anything. So I mean, just on the fact that there is a 50-ish% chance, depending, that she might walk out the door. I gotta give her a 2, unfortunately.
2 for Melody. I think I'm a little less high on her chances of leaving. I think that I think there's a decent chance Lyric wins the blockbuster, which makes Melody lock safe. Decent chance. I mean, she's not, Melody herself is not proven to win the blockbuster, to win comp that well, but quite frankly, neither is Drew, who has not performed very well in competition. He's been throwing some of them, but we don't really know his true potential. I think, and then I think even in the event that Drew does win the blockbuster, it is not locked necessarily that she will leave. And if Drew does go, I don't think she'll be like looked at for a little while, because nobody really considers her to be a threat. So I am going to just go with a 3. It's a little higher than the 2, but 3 for me is about where I'm at.
Yeah, same here. 3, unfortunately, as much as I love her and I really do hope that she sticks around, and I want her to, I just want her to do well. I feel like she has like the brains for it, but just doesn't have the positioning for it, unfortunately. But if she could just get a foothold, I feel like she could do something.
Yes. I believe they are currently pitching the evict Lyric over Melody plan to Devens at the moment, who I think is the deciding figure. So I'm very curious to know what he thinks about this. I will be certainly looking at the feeds once this podcast ends very shortly. Melody gets a 4 from the audience. A 4 for Melody and Lyric. The audience is really locked in on Drew being evicted, I guess. Though they also gave Drew a 3. So I guess there you go. All right. Taylor. She was initially a target this week, but I'm certainly not going to fault her too much for that. She wins the veto. Love that for her. And in general, I continue to just like how active she is despite her position. She is continuing to try to make relationships with people anytime she can. The way she's gotten Haley to soften on her is genuinely impressive. She's done that now with 2 different HOHs that were in charge, between Kamu last week and Haley this week. She's developing a relationship with Yash that is very valuable. She's developed a relationship with Lyric. She's in, I think, a decent place. In general, she's still being looked at as a big threat. I still worry about that for her. I'm not going to be able to go higher than a 5 for her, just because, quite frankly, nobody is above a 5 other than Dee and Devens, in my opinion. But I do like where she's at, and I think that with a coming power shift, that could potentially put her in a slightly better position. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Taylor. I think she's very funny and fun, and I want her to do well. And I do think she has like the smarts for it. But I do think she's not in a great position. She's still being looked at. It's not great, but she's a 5 for me. And I really do hope that it improves, because I really do like her and want her to stick around.
Yeah, I was actually very much marveling at how she was. I feel like Haley had that whole speech about don't be in my room eating my snacks, aimed at Lala and Taylor. And what was Taylor up there doing today? eating Haley snacks, talking with Haley. I thought it was really, really funny. So Taylor is one of the more active people from the other side, who does seem to manage to win people over without them feeling that they're being won over. But the fact that Angela is kind of onto her D, they're all like, oh, she's so surface level. It's scary. You know what I'm saying? She's at least with a 3-block situation for the duration of the season. There's probably going to be a seat with her name on it for the foreseeable future. But winning the veto is always a good thing because it'll make people think twice about throwing you up on the block initially. So all good things for her this week. So while she's up, I'll give her a 5.
All right. The audience says 5 as well. Look at that.
There you go.
Wow, another 5.
All right. Final person, Melissa, is Yash. How are you feeling about Yash?
I kind of feel better about Yash. I don't know. I was impressed with him last week when there was the vote flip conversation going on. And first of all, he was like on board and I was worried he was kind of going to be like, well, let me talk to the people. I don't know, guys. Like, I just wasn't sure about him, but I really did like that he was like, yes, let's do it. Let's make things happen. And he just seems like maybe he could be a player. Like this whole time I kind of thought, like, what are you even doing here? You're not playing. You're not part of this. Like, what's happening? And then I just felt like I saw something different. And I was like, okay, wait, I could see him actually being a good player, like a good competitor, a good, maybe, like anti-person, like a person who will go against the majority potentially. I don't know if he will or if he'll just get sucked up into it or whatever, but I think he's done well for himself this week. The fact that Haley chose to nominate Drew instead of nominating Yash, who would have been an easy nomination. Like it could have been like a quote unquote easy week because there are still outsiders. And she could have easily just been like, well, let's just put up Yash and let's put up whatever. She didn't do that. Even though her whole explanation of like, we need to keep girls around. And it's like, so we're going to have to nominate you, Drew. It's like, well, what about Yash? She's right there. The fact that she wasn't going to do that. Yeah, I've been impressed with him. So I gave him a 3 last week. I don't know where this goes, but I'm willing to give him a 5 this week.
Yash is watching him on the feed is so like, I love the type of energy that he brings to the house. And now that he's like legit feels like he's locked in, he is very much like very receptive to anything anybody is saying to him. When somebody is talking to him and telling him a plan, he's so excited, he's so hyped. He knows how to reflect back to them that he is interested in what they're saying. And with that fact, everybody thinks they have Yash. Everybody's just counting Yash, like on both sides. They're like, yeah, we have Yash. Yeah, we have Yash. And as of right now, that's something that, he's not going to get in trouble for. The problem is Angela is nipping at his heels. But that's not this week's problem. That's future Yash's problem. So as of right now, I think a 5 is more than justified here for Yash, because a lot of people just think like, oh, if we lose somebody from our alliance, we bring Yash in. Yash has the Dapper Dance. Yash has the Wolf Pack. Yash has, I think a final 2 with Kamu, I believe. Possible final 2 with Taylor, working relationship with Taylor, final 2 with Lyric. So even though we are all biting our nails and probably are afraid that if Drew gets out, that Angela would be pointed towards him, he has been doing some really good work. I really feel like he's been very locked in this past week or two, the last 2 weeks. So good for him.
I feel like Yash is in a prime position to benefit from a power shift. But I do worry about the Angela of it all. I also just generally worry about him losing Drew, who also was a good ally for Yash to have had, and is now losing. He's done well to replace him, though, unlike somebody like Kamu And so people like Kamu and it's like Devens has also kind of replaced Drew a little bit, but Yash has done better at replacing Drew, I think, than anybody else. But yeah, it's about a 5 for me for Yash. I don't think I can go any higher. But I won't go any lower because I do think that he's displaying some of the better gameplay from this other side so far. And the audience also at a 5.
Wow, another 5.
And this just makes sense for the board for me. D and Devens just far ahead of the pack. Nobody even really all that close. And I think that's where it is. That's where it should be right now, according to how the house is positioned. Nobody can really stick their head too far above that ceiling because the vets are keeping them down. As an example, I think what I'm seeing is that Devens might be putting the lid on this lyric flip and saying perhaps maybe we shouldn't do that because Devens just can. He can just choose to say, nah, I would prefer that we vote out Melody, and that then happens. I don't know if that's the case necessarily. I'm excited to find out once we check out the feeds. I'll, of course, be live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on all of it. But that is the Stockwatch for the week.
I'm sorry. I really don't understand the vets not wanting to get Lyric out here. Like, it seems very obvious to me that it would be the vets you would go after. No?
I agree. I think the vets should want Lyric out. I think that I think that they're probably concerned that Melody is more linked to Drew, and they just are overly concerned about Drew. I think Lyric is a bigger problem. Lyric is better at competitions, and she is a more capable player at this point. Now, losing Melody's not a bad play either. You know, like it's not bad if Melody leaves. Melody's absolutely coming for them in the red corner, but Melody just isn't as good at comps from what we've seen so far. And so you know, I don't think this is as bad as cutting Drew himself. But you know, we'll see. That's why, again, I feel like this might be their initial reaction, but maybe they change their mind over the next couple of days. You never know.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm just imagining like a scenario where like next week Kamu wins HOH and then it's like we're just doing this again. Oh my God. Please don't.
We will see. All right, then. That is what we have for you this week for the Stockwatch. Thank you for hanging out. Of course, you can go to realitystockwatch.com if you want to play along. The new ratings will be updated eventually at some point. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Never know. And tomorrow morning, update. Tomorrow, we also are recording the mailbag for patrons of Rob as a podcast. Wednesday night, another episode. Keep track of the edit for who might be getting the time capsule. I stream live during the episodes on Patreon. It's a good place to hang out, support what I do. And that's about what I got going on. Mari, what about you?
You can find me over on Blue Sky at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2, like the number 2. That's the only place I'm at. I'm talking a whole bunch of Big Brother over there. Make sure you follow and subscribe to the Crime Scene Pod, where me and Sarah Carradine, we talk about true crime documentaries, docuseries, and we rate them and let you know if you should watch them as well. You can go to crimescenepod.com in order to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We also have merch. Look at that merch. Ooh. Crime Scene merch. Yeah. We have custom handmade tumblers that I make that you can find the link to that on my pin post on Blue Sky. But essentially it's maricraftstoomuch.bigcartel.com. And we are so excited because Crime Scene will be at RHAP and we will be doing a live podcast there. So if you are coming to Milwaukee, then please come and check us out.
Did you guys, I just watched a documentary the other night on Netflix. It was the college murders one.
That one we're covering next week. We're dropping Toxic Love Story this week.
Oh, so the other Netflix, I almost watched that one. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to listen.
Yeah. Check it out. Check it out and then listen. Yeah.
All right. Of course, Melissa is it's Melissa. Also, have you Twitch streamed yet?
Not yet, but
Not
I
yet.
just like I'm so busy, but I want to do it. I feel like it'd be really fun. I almost did it while I was here. Maybe I still can. Actually, maybe I should because okay, maybe I'll do it soon this week because I'm in my parents' house and I'll make my mom watch feeds for the first time ever.
And the Twitch is it's Melissa duh.
Yeah, it's Melissa with 3 A's. Duh.
It's Melissa duh. Make sure you go to Twitch, find her channel, follow it. Then you will be informed when she does in fact go live. Since that is not quite scheduled yet, but you'll be very excited to watch Melissa on Twitch. So
I'm gonna do it, guys.
Check that out. Thank you all again for hanging out here with us tonight, and we will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.